everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. As you can see from the title of this video, this is going to be a kind of 6-week postpartum check-in. I wanted to talk a little bit about my recovery from a C-section, postpartum hormones, body image, and then I also wanted to give some tips for those that know new mothers, or tips overall for new mothers, things that actually really helped me feel more like myself, I think, pretty quickly, and actually quicker than I was expecting to. The first thing, and I think I spoke a little bit about this in my birth story video, my C-section recovery was a lot harder than I was expecting it to be, but I think it still went fairly smoothly. There's a little bit of a hiccup, but I was not expecting to have a C-section. I really didn't want a C-section, and I had just heard pretty terrible things about C-sections. I've now heard a few good stories, like people actually wanting it and being happy with it, but my view in a C-section was the recovery is a lot harder than a vaginal delivery, so it was not something I wanted. For me personally, the first week or so, I'd say actually like a week and a half, I would say the first week and a half or so was really difficult. I could barely walk. For a while, I actually couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. Like, my husband had to help me in the bathroom. My husband had to help me shower. And when you have a new baby, especially for me, it was really important in those early days to be able to bond with Jude. And I felt like I was not able to properly do so. And so on top of having the postpartum hormones, which is just normal, your body just had a bunch of hormones from pregnancy, and then baby comes out and your body's like, whoa, what the heck is happening? On top of that, I was really upset that I wasn't able to take care of Jude the way I wanted to. I wasn't really able to hold her as much. I wasn't able to like change her diapers. I mean, that sounds, people probably like, why are you obsessed with changing her diapers? But I just envisioned having more responsibility over her, and with recovering from a major surgery, I just wasn't able to do that, and it made me really upset. And for the first week and a half or so, I was crying every day, if not multiple times a day. I am definitely a crier, but now looking back, I can tell part of that was the hormones, and then also being just upset with the recovery and kind of just looking back and not having the experience that I expected. After about, and I also was crying because breastfeeding was not going the way I wanted it to, but I'm going to have a whole other breastfeeding video, so I'm not going to talk about it. So after that, after about a week and a half, I actually started to feel a lot better. Something that helped me was talking to people about how I was feeling. A fair amount of people shared their experience with me that actually really helped. Kind of talked about like, yeah, like I felt the same exact way. The hormones are crazy. It's just like a roller coaster. Also talk about struggles with breastfeeding. And I feel like these are things that people aren't as open with. So I was really grateful that people were open to me about it. And I hope to be open to you about it, so that if you are feeling the same way, you don't feel alone, because that really helped me. I started to feel like I was the only one that felt that way, and that like no one really understood how I was feeling and why was I so upset, because literally my actual dream had become a reality, having a baby. So it's really those conflicting hormones, being so happy with your baby but then upset about your experience or upset about how things are going. So the clashing is also interesting. But after a week and a half or so, what made me start to feel a lot better was, one, I was recovering a little bit more, and then two, I started to kind of get a little bit more into my quote-unquote normal routine. I was getting up and like taking a shower and getting dressed and putting on a little bit of makeup. Even doing that and then like starting to do more chores around the house started to make me feel a lot better. I believe that rest is great and you should take as much rest as you need, but I'm also someone that I feel really good when I get things done. So the more I started to do things around the house and the more I was able to take care of Jude in the way that I wanted to, the better I started to feel. And by, I would say, 3 weeks or so, I was surprised with how good I felt. I felt mostly like myself, and I'm really lucky and happy I felt that way, because something that I spoke about with my therapist beforehand, before having Jude, was postpartum depression and anxiety. Because I struggled with those things outside of postpartum, I was a little bit worried that they would come on, and especially that first week and a half or so, it was a little bit scary for me, because it was like, okay, is postpartum depression coming on, or is this just something separate that makes sense and I'm upset? I did have a therapy appointment set up for about, it was a week or 2 weeks after I gave birth, and I did that purposefully so that I would be able to talk about my emotions. We talked about it. It was more so, it wasn't postpartum depression or anxiety, and I'm very grateful for that. If you are struggling with either of those, I would really encourage you to get help. You shouldn't feel like anything's wrong with you. Wow, lighting really just changed. It doesn't make you a bad mom or anything like that. Actually seeking out help, if anything, would make you better, because you want to be not only physically healthy but mentally healthy for your child. Even though I didn't struggle with, I would say, like being diagnosed with postpartum depression or anxiety, I did have some normal anxieties that I think a lot of new moms go through. So for example, the first week or two of Jude's life, I always wanted someone awake while she was sleeping, watching her. And that's just because in my mind I was like, well, what if something happens if she's sleeping and we're sleeping, and then we wake up and God forbid, something's happened to her. And so that was a big anxiety of mine. Another thing that I thought about a lot actually before Jude was here, I still do think about a little bit, but it's gotten a lot better, is just someone falling while holding her, especially when people are holding her going down the stairs. For some reason in my head, it's just kind of like, what if someone just tripped and obviously she would fall, and I can't imagine what would happen. But it's definitely gotten a lot better. Even people just holding Jude and walking around kind of used to make me be like, what if something happens? But now I feel completely fine with it. I trust that as humans, we kind of have like an instinct to, when we're holding something so fragile, to not drop them, even if you trip. And I don't know, for some reason I think we have to trust ourselves a little bit more. And that was something actually that my husband said to me about Jude, is that when she's sleeping, we have to trust her. We know she knows how to sleep. She's a big girl. She actually already rolled over technically. But yeah, as time went on and I started to get to know her better outside the womb and started to trust her more, a lot of those anxieties that I had started to just kind of go away. Another thing I think really helped is I started meditating every day. I would encourage you to do that if you're struggling with the anxieties. I'm not super good at meditating yet, but it's definitely helping. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about weight loss and body image things, because I feel like that's something that everyone kind of thinks about and goes through postpartum. If you watched my pregnancy update videos, I lost a fair amount of weight my first trimester, of almost 15 pounds, and then by the end of my pregnancy I had gained 15 pounds back. So I didn't gain that much weight during my pregnancy. The way my doctor explained it is that during my pregnancy, it was possible that my body was losing weight but baby was gaining weight. It still doesn't really make sense to me, but that's how she explained it. The weird thing for me was that so I had my C-section, I got home Friday, and I think it was Saturday morning, I weighed myself and my weight had gone up, and I was just like, okay, the math isn't mathing, because I just gave birth to an over 10-pound baby, plus your placenta, plus all the blood I was losing. How's my weight going up? And that was when I really started to be concerned with how much swelling I had. So I swelled a lot after my C-section, and when I was leaving the hospital, I had swelling, mostly in my calves and my feet. I told them, they said it was pretty much normal, it was fine. But when I got home, the swelling kind of progressed. It wasn't getting any better by a week later, and the fact that my weight had gone up was just it was very concerning to me. I've never had swelling that extreme. So by Tuesday, a week postpartum, very late in the night, I want to say 9 or 10 p.m., I started to get worried that the swelling was actually due to high blood pressure or hypertension. I've never had high blood pressure. I've never had high blood pressure, but I know it's more common when people are pregnant and even after giving birth. And even though I didn't have high blood pressure during pregnancy, actually my blood pressure went a little bit down compared to my normal. It was still kind of a thought in the back of my head, and again, I was still having those anxious thoughts at that time. So we ended up going to the emergency room, and after we were checked in, my blood pressure was fine. It was actually great, they said. They contacted my OB that did my C-section, and she was saying that because I lost so much blood during the C-section, they actually had to pump me with a lot of fluids and probably overdid it a bit, to the point that my body was just swelling so much. So my whole legs were swollen, my feet were swollen. I even felt like my stomach was swollen, like it was expanding more this way, versus during my pregnancy, my stomach mostly expanded this way. So that immediately was strange to me. And so the hospital gave me, I don't remember what the medication was called at all. Yeah, I don't remember. They gave me some kind of medication. They gave me straight fluids into my IV while I was at the hospital that pretty much just makes your body rid of extra fluid. And almost immediately I had to pee twice within less than 30 minutes. And then they gave me a prescription to take, I want to say it was either 2 or 3 pills the next day. And after they gave me those pills, within a little under 2 weeks, I lost 30 pounds, which sounds shocking and not healthy, but you have to keep in mind a lot of that was just extra fluid and my body actually getting rid of that, and probably what my weight would have gone down if I didn't have the swelling after baby came out anyway. I've heard that people will lose like 20, 25 pounds after giving birth regularly. And then I also was still bleeding, so just like extra fluid coming out of you. And then I also was breastfeeding, and I know breastfeeding makes you, for some women, makes you lose weight quicker. And then within the next week after that, I still lost about 5 pounds. I would say that 5 pounds was more so actual probably weight rather than like just water weight and stuff from baby, because I was breastfeeding more and doing more chores around the house. I had started going on walks with baby by then too, so definitely more activity than I had in probably the past like 2 months, because especially the last 2 or so months of my pregnancy, I was not very active until maybe the last 2 weeks or so, when I was trying to really get baby out and going on walks. And then since then, I've probably lost around like 3 or 4 pounds. Now my weight's been just fluctuating around the same amount, like it'll go down a bit, then up and then down. So I guess maybe the same. That's about it. So actually I am significantly less than I was pre-pregnancy weight-wise, keeping in mind that my weight was a little bit higher than my quote-unquote normal before I got pregnant. And then even though I weigh less, my body composition is completely different. I lost a bunch of muscle during pregnancy, especially my legs. I knew my leg measurements before. My leg measurements now are like 2-3 inches smaller. And I also know because I had joggers that didn't fit me pre-pregnancy because my legs and my butt were so big, and now one of the bigger pair of them actually is quite baggy on my legs. And then also my waist itself, like the smallest part of my waist is actually smaller than it was pre-pregnancy, but I do still have like the pregnant belly, mom belly, I don't know, C-section belly, I don't know what you want to call it, but just like extra, like a pouch, I had like a little bit of pouch beforehand anyway. I think most women do. And then I also just hold most of my fat from like my belly button down. So I have still that little pouch. I definitely have extra skin. I actually will show. So if I'm wearing something high-waisted like this, like I said, my waist is actually smaller, and like I still have a little bit of abs showing, kind of, not really. Oh, and I still have the linea nigra line. But then if I reveal, you can see the C-section tummy, and the linea nigra is still dark. My belly button has gone back in, but yeah, like you can see that I definitely have that. I have the stretch marks still. I don't think they're gonna go away. They might fade a little bit. I actually don't really care about the stretch marks. I'm more concerned about like the little pooch. That is more bothersome to me. Not a big deal though. If I would have to have this forever, even bigger, to have baby, I would have done it 10 times over. I guess I'll see them like this too, so you can, yeah, you can definitely see more. See how like it just goes out, and then here. I wish I could show you my C-section incision, but I feel like if I do, I will fully be exposing myself. I can try and we'll see if it makes the cut. Yeah, I don't think I can show, but basically you can't even see anything anyway. It's my C-section incision, hi BHB, is so low that if to show it, I almost have to show my vagina. Oh, the one thing that I want to mention is that if you have not heard of postpartum BO or postpartum sweating, they are both very real things. You get extra smelly. Apparently that is to help baby know your scent and learn how to get to your boobs and just know you better. And then the sweating is so extreme. It's actually disgusting. I am now washing our whole bedding like once a week. Maybe people do that regularly, but I know I was washing our bedding before every other week, but now I have to do it every week. Sometimes even midweek I'm changing our sheets because the sweat is disgusting. One night last week, I think, I actually had to get up and shower because I just could not go back to bed, and how much sweat I was in when I had to wake up and feed baby. It was just gross. As I said, I wanted to give a few tips for those that want to help their new mom friends. The number one tip I would give is check in on moms, not only babies. I think it's very common for people to be like, how's baby doing? But then they kind of forget to check in on mom and dad, and that can kind of be a little bit distancing. I know I've really appreciated the people that have checked in on me. I have a few people check in on me like every other day, at least once a week, and I really appreciate those people. I think it's really, really nice, and it makes you feel like they care, they're thinking about you, and it's really special. But the second tip I would give is that bring them food. Two of my good friends brought us so much food. It was really, really nice and really helpful, especially those early weeks when you have like visitors. It was nice to have a few snacks to put out for people, and then also a lot of snacks for me to eat, and especially those early weeks. Now I've calmed down a bit, but those few, I would say up until like a month, I was eating so much, so many snacks, just snacking all the time. What was the last tip I wanted to give? Oh, the last tip was invite your mom friends to events even early on. Don't expect them to say yes. Like they might say no because they still have baby, but they might say yes. And then also it's just like not nice to feel excluded. Like you don't want to assume they won't come and just not even tell them, and then later they see and they're like, like that's not nice. I think those are the 3 tips I wanted to give. The last thing that I will talk about before ending this video is that I'm really excited that I'm able to work out again. I actually did my first workout today because I'm officially 6 weeks postpartum as I'm filming this. I don't think this video will go up until almost 7 weeks postpartum. So I did my first workout today. It was great. I have to do very light weights for a bit, but even doing that just feels so good. I love lifting weights. It is a form of self-care for me. I love building muscle. I love building strength. So I'm really excited to be able to do that today. And then I just realized before filming this video that I can now take baths again. So I am going to actually take a bath with baby today, which I think is going to be so sweet, just sitting on a bath holding her, and she loves baths, so it's going to be a nice bonding moment for us. And I think that's it. That's all I want to talk about. I'm going to do a video, I think before the new year, of like revamping my wardrobe according to my new quote-unquote body. I know that as I get into working out, my body will change a little bit, but I'm not expecting as like that pouch I showed you to just disappear anytime soon. I know it's going to take a bit, and it might not even go away at all, which is fine. So if you're interested in that, that video is to come. So that is everything. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was interesting, and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Bye.